following is a production of Minor League Baseball, the Lynchburg Hillcats, and Virch. Welcome into another night of Lynchburg Hillcats baseball. We are about 20 minutes from the start of tonight's game, and it's time for us to get you set for first pitch. Coming up over the next 20 minutes, we will preview the game with the pitching matchup and the starting lineups. We'll also sit down with tonight's pregame interview. And finally, we'll look around the Carolina League and update the standings. Hillcats baseball is on deck, but first, to preview tonight's game, here's Connor Young.
8-5, your Hillcats lead the season series against their Commonwealth Carolina League North Division rivals, the Fredericksburg Nationals. And they also lead the two clubs' third six-game set 1-0 after a series lead win just one night ago. My name is Connor Young, and I am so glad you are joining me on the Lynchburg Hillcats pregame show as we get ready for a Wednesday night Carolina League clash on a picture-perfect day for baseball here in the Bank of the James Stadium from the Hill City. Let's start the show off right with the series recap, and to this point, we only have last night's Game 1 contest to look over. The Fred Nats started the game off with a bang, scoring at least one run in the first 3 innings. 3 of those runs came across thanks to a pair of Fred Nat home runs. A solo shot in the first from Yohandy Morales, and then a towering 2-run blast in the third by Elijah Green. Sandwiched in between those two Freddie homers was a moonshot golfed over the left field wall of the Bank of the James by Logan Clark on the first pitch he would see at the single-A level. His big fly would plate 2 and give Lynchburg their 3rd run of the young ball game. And they wouldn't find their 4th until the 8th, as Fredericksburg would control through the middle innings with a slim 1-run advantage. Lord Kellen Vasquez came out of the bullpen for the Hillcats and took the 4th through the 7th, holding the Nats scoreless through his 4 innings on the bump. Vasquez now has not allowed a run through his last 4 appearances. He has been great out of the pen for the Hillcats. That dry spell both offenses would suffer from in the middle frames allowed the Cats to pounce in the late innings as they do so often, and they did not disappoint last night once again. They put 1 run on the board to tie things in the bottom of the 8th on a Luis Morejo sacrifice fly, and then would strike with a sacrifice once again in the 9th, this time off of the bat of Tommy Hawk to conclude matters in the Berg in dramatic fashion, and giving Lynchburg the 5-4 final. It really was quite the game, and one that Fredericksburg really felt like they had firm control of throughout until the 8th and 9th innings, where the Cardiac Cats continue to come up big in the clutch. Another Hillcat who has been coming up roses lately is their starting pitcher today, as we take a look at both starters slated for this evening. Jackson Humphreys really struggled early in the season for Lynchburg, but has bounced back in a big way since the first quarter of the season. He has a 150 earned run average in the month of July to this point, and in the quickly expiring July, he would love to keep his monthly ERA sub-2 by night's end. For the Freddies, Mikey Tepper will be on the mound, and Tepper is no stranger to Lynchburg living. Tepper played his college ball at Liberty University, which is just a couple minutes down the road from Bank of the James Stadium. Tepper has been out with injury since May, so it's been a while since Lynchburgians and Fredericks fans alike have seen Tepper twirl the pill. Let's now take a look at what's on the docket this evening around the Carolina League as we glance over the standings in the North and the South divisions. We'll start with the out-of-town scoreboard, where 2 matinee games have already concluded. First of those being Columbia versus Fayetteville. That was an 11:05 a.m. Eastern start time. Columbia comes out on top 5-3. Wyatt picks up the win for the Fireflies. They stay red hot after their great series against the Hillcats. Salem and Kannapolis, 12:05 p.m. Eastern afternoon go time. 3-2 final as the Red Sox take it over the Cannonballers. Fredericksburg, Lynchburg right here in the Hill City will get started at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Charleston and Carolina will have the same start time from 5 County Stadium. 7:05 p.m. Eastern start for the pair of Down East and Augusta, along with Myrtle Beach in Delmarva. Couple of North versus South pairings to round us out in the schedule. We look at the standings here in the second half. Fredericksburg still in control at the top of the North, 20-11, as they have a 3.5 game over both Carolina and Salem. Lynchburg in the 4th spot, 14-17 after their win last night, 6 games out of first place. We'll go through the North in order. Fredericksburg first, Carolina second, Salem third, Down East fourth, Lynchburg fifth, and Delmarva in the basement at 13-18. In the South, Charleston leads it with 2.5 games of cushion. Columbia right on their tails. Myrtle Beach in third, Kannapolis in fourth, Fayetteville in fifth. In Augusta, in the last spot in the South with the worst record in the second half to this point at 9-20. The only team not in the double-digit win category. From the standings to the starting lineups, let's meet today's variation of the Hillcats starting nine. It'll be Francisca leading off and playing shortstop for Lynchburg. Ralphie Velasquez back in the lineup for the first time since July 21st. He'll be DHing and batting second. Jason Churio once again gets to start in center field, batting third. In the middle, Marejo, Napchik, and Antunez, 4, 5, 6. Logan Clark will once again get the start behind the plate. He'll bat seventh. Barrett Reebok, another new Hillcat, will be in the starting lineup. This time he'll move over to left field. He DH'd last night. And Fran Aldui will make his first start of this series, batting ninth and playing third. On the other end, the Nationals will look a little like this on this beautiful, balmy, blue-skied evening. Everett Cooper, he'll play second and lead him off. Elijah Green had a good day yesterday. He'll bat second in center field. Brandon Pimentel, he came in the game halfway through in last night's contest, pinch hitting for Morales. He'll bat third and play first. Nate Rombach will bat cleanup in DH. Christian Vaquero fifth. Rafael Ramirez Jr., our old friend, will play shortstop for the Nationals this evening and bat sixth. And to round things out, 7, 8, 9, it'll be Colmenares, Ochoa, and Peoples to end things for the Frednats. We saw a lot of Hillcats debuts last night, 4 to be exact, and they all went pretty well. All 4 Hillcat Cubs had productive at-bats last night, but none more productive than what we saw from Logan Clark. It certainly did not take long for Clark to make his impact felt here in Lynchburg. I caught up with him pregame to talk about his first Hillcat moment and all the love he has supporting him back at home. It's one of our best pregame interviews of the season. You don't want to miss it.
The Virginia Commonwealth Games are back this summer in Lynchburg, Virginia, on the campus of Liberty University. Be a part of the tailgate party and opening ceremony's kickoff celebration. For more information, visit commonwealthgames.org.
If you're looking for a home, auto, or life insurance plan, look no further. State Farm has been offering great coverage at surprisingly low rates for over 100 years. Stop in and see one of the 4 Central Virginia insurance agents. For Lynchburg, call Chip Harvey. For Rustburg, contact Jack Dean. For Appomattox, call Sarah Saunders. And for Madison Heights, visit Kim Z. Gardner. Contact your local State Farm agents today.
The following is a production of the Lynchburg Hillcats and minor league baseball.
Welcome back to the pregame show on the Lynchburg Hillcats radio network. I'm Connor Young here with Logan Clark. And first off, welcome to Lynchburg. Second off, not too bad of a debut yesterday. Obviously, first pitch you see, you send it. One of the longest home runs I've seen at the Bank of the James Stadium this year. For you, I'm sure that's got to be great to get that first home run out of the way, kind of settle the nerves a little bit.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's nice to be around these guys and be in this cool environment in Lynchburg. It's a fun place, and was just fortunate enough to get a pitch to be able to hit it out, and it was awesome.
Yeah, one thing that Jason and I saw on social media was you have a lot of support back home. Looked like even a big group of people that support you watching that at home on a big screen. What an awesome moment that must have been for everyone that is so special to you back home.
Yeah, no, definitely. My little town, it's kind of sort of like here, small town, bunch of hard-nosed oil field guys, and they all heard that I was playing, and my dad and family went and rented out a movie theater, and they just kind of everybody went and watched me play, which is pretty cool to have that support from your hometown.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I'm so glad they all got to share that moment, and it, of course, helps when you have a big moment like you did yesterday. Well, we got a good series ahead of us. Thank you for joining us on Lynchburg Hillcats pregame show. I love it. I can honestly say I did not think I would be making my silver screen debut this season, but that is just an awesome moment for Logan and all of the Clark family. But now, Hillcats baseball right around the corner and on deck. The voice of the Hillcats, Jason Pritt, will get us ready for game time, followed by the setting of the defense for the Hillcats PA announcer, and then the national anthem live from the Bank of the James Stadium in just a moment. But after the last out is recorded, don't go anywhere. Join me back here for the postgame show on the Lynchburg Hillcats radio network. I will get you ready for Game 3 on Thursday as we will take one last whip-around glance around the Carolina League. Hillcats baseball, it's up next. You're listening on the Lynchburg Hillcats radio network.
The following is a production of minor league baseball, the Lynchburg Hillcats, and Virch. Welcome into another night of Lynchburg Hillcats baseball. We are about 20 minutes from the start of tonight's game, and it's time for us to get you set for first pitch. Coming up over the next 20 minutes, we will preview the game with the pitching matchup and the starting lineups. We'll also sit down with tonight's pregame interview. And finally, we'll look around the Carolina League and update the standings. Hillcats baseball is on deck, but first, to preview tonight's game, here's Connor Young.
The Ducks finally pulled their first one of the series over the Hillcats last night. Not that Lynchburg didn't give them another late game scare, because you bet they did in classic Hillcat fashion. But Down East was able to limp away with the Friday night win, putting the series at a 3-1 mark and Lynchburg advantage coming into the weekend. Welcome to the pregame show. Connor Young with you. We'll hear from Jason Prill as we get a little closer to game time. But first, let's tell the tale of the tape of the series at hand between the Hillcats and the Wood Ducks. Kyle Scott, he stole the show for Lynchburg in Game 1 on Tuesday. Scott went 6 innings pitched, giving up 3 hits with 3 strikeouts, not allowing a single run. And by the time it was all said and done, he picked up his 6th win of the season. That's the most wins on the active roster for any starting pitcher on the Hillcats team. Offensively, Lynchburg didn't need to do all that much, but the production they did get was driven by Luis Morejo and Tommy Hawk, who both picked up multi-hit days. Tommy Hawk especially picked up the offensive slack. He drove in 2 runs on an RBI triple, which moved the scoreline to 4-0 Hillcats, which is where the tally would stay all the way through the later innings. Wednesday was a long, wacky, back-and-forth affair filled with just about every unusual instance you could find in a baseball game. The highlights were a golden sombrero handed to Guardian top prospect Wellbeing Francisca, another multi-hit day for potential future Cleveland top 30 ranked prospect Luis Morejo, and another clutch save for Hillcat veteran Renny Artiles. Artiles has been pitching really well for the Cats out of the bullpen lately. The Wood Ducks, they struck first in the top of the 3rd. Lynchburg would strike back with a run of their own in the bottom of the same frame. This back-and-forth trading of 1-run innings would continue until the bottom of the 7th, when Lynchburg hung their first crooked number of the frame. Eventually, it would end in a 6-3 Lynchburg victory. From one crazy game to another, what a wild ride we went on Thursday night in Game 3. Lynchburg at one point trailed by as many as 5 runs in the ball game 2 nights ago, but stuck it out through the very end. It ended up taking the win in dramatic fashion. It was a tough start from Jackson Humphreys on the bump, one of his worst outings since April, the first month of the season, going all the way back to spring. He gave up 7 earned runs, including 2 homers through 4 innings pitched on Thursday. Luckily, his Cats had his back. They picked up the slack down the stretch, scoring 5 runs in the bottom of the 8th to tie the game, and eventually send matters into extra innings. Wellbeing Francisco would be the hero, driving in the tying and winning run on a game-winning 2 RBI single that sent the Hillcat home crowd happy. Last night, Down East scored 3 runs across the first 2 frames in what would end up being yet again a less than ideal start for a Hillcat starting pitcher this series. It was Yogli Garcia to start on the bump last night, and Garcia went 4 innings, giving up 3 runs, 2 earned on 3 hits and 2 walks in Game 4. Lynchburg would trail as much as 4-0 heading into the 5th, but as they always do, the Cats turned the burners on down the stretch. They scored 2 in the bottom of the 5th and restarted the rally again in the bottom of the 9th, pleading 1 to make it a 5-3 game, and then loading the bases for their hottest hitter, Luis Morejo, with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. Morejo squared off with Down East reliever Alberto Mota, and fortunately for the Lynchburg faithful, Mota came out on top of the duel, picking up his first save on the year and giving the Ducks the 5-3 win, leaving the bases loaded to end the game. Lynchburg continues to live up to their nickname as the comeback cardiac Cats, but one thing that could make it a little easier for them to stick around in the ballgame in the first few frames is some better starting pitching. Melquis Hernandez will be twirling the pillow on the hill for the Cats this evening. Hernandez has pitched in 7 2/3 innings with Lynchburg on this season, and in those frames he has allowed 2 long balls, given up 7 walks, and struck out 6. He hasn't registered a top-line start yet this season, and he is hoping tonight could be his first in a Hillcat uniform. Colton Curtis is a tall 6'4" right-hander from Naples, Florida, who has been tearing up the Carolina League on the bump as just a 20-year-old, and he will be starting for Down East on the bump this evening. On the year, Curtis holds a 2.88 ERA on the season and a whip in the low 1s. He has been a key piece in the best starting pitching staff in the Carolina League this season, which Down East possesses. Let's take a break from zeroing in on the action that will get going in just about 10 minutes or so here in the Bank of the James Stadium, and widen our scope to the rest of the Carolina League through the out-of-town scoreboard and standings portion of the Lynchburg Hillcats pregame show on the Lynchburg Hillcats radio network. 6:30 p.m. Eastern start here in Lynchburg. That's the earliest start on the Carolina League schedule on August 17th. Columbia and Myrtle Beach at 6:35 p.m. Eastern will get going. Fayetteville and Augusta at the same time from SRP Park. Charleston and Kannapolis, Salem and Fredericksburg, Charleston and Delmarva, all 7 p.m. Eastern start times. Let's take a look at the standings heading into today. Fredericksburg still atop in the north at 28 and 18. They have a 2-game advantage over Salem at 26 and 20. Carolina in third, down east in fourth, 22 and 19, 3.5 games out. The back half of this series, super important for the Wood Ducks as they look to chase Fredericksburg at the top of the North standings and eventually hope to claim that second half crown, clinching themselves a playoff spot. Lynchburg 1 spot below down east at 22 and 22, 5 games out of their Virginian rivals in the Fredericksburg Nationals. Delmarva in the basement, 9 games out of first. In the South, Charleston has a 3.5 game over Columbia, the second place team. The Fireflies are at 24 and 20 in the second half. Myrtle Beach in third, Fayetteville in fourth, Kannapolis in fifth, Augusta rounding out things in the South with a 12 and 31 record, 15 games out of first place. Moving back to the Hill City, let's see the starting 9 Jordan Smith will be rolling with on this beautiful sunny Lynchburg Saturday evening. The top of the lineup will be led off by DH Christian Napchik. He'll be doing the designated hitting and batting leadoff for the Cats. Welby and Francisca bats second, Jason Churio third. Luis Moreo will start off the middle, batting cleanup. Juan Benjamin fifth, Logan Clark sixth. And to round it out, Ryan Cesarini seventh, Barrett Reebok eighth, and Fran Aldui playing third and batting ninth. Those Cats will be up against the following Down East Wood Ducks starting 9. Jose De Jesus back in the leadoff spot after getting the day off yesterday. Ishedri Vargas has been tearing it up here in Lynchburg. He had a 3-for-5 day last night. He'll play shortstop at second. Casey Cook third, Julian Brock fourth, Rafe Parrish fifth, and Pablo Guerrero sixth. Baker Barroso seventh, Yeremi Cabrera eighth playing right field, and Marcos Torres will once again bat ninth and play left. He's coming off an 0-for-3 day with 2 strikeouts, batting in the bottom half of the order on Friday. Luis Morejo has been turning heads all around minor league baseball, especially from prospect heads who follow closely the happenings in the Cleveland Guardians organization, and for good reason. He holds a batting average in the 380s and a slugging percentage hovering at an astronomical .821 mark coming into tonight's ballgame. I caught up with him pregame to pick his brain on how he adjusted seemingly so well to Carolina League competition from the Complex League, and even a new potential attribute he could be adding to his ever-growing resume as soon as this season ends. Stay tuned for that. It's coming up next.
Celebrate the history of America's pastime at the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum in Cooperstown. See priceless treasures that will bring your baseball memories to life. Connect with events that shaped and changed the game and our country. And relive the careers of legends who have earned the greatest honor in sports. Our stories to tell, your memories to share. Plan your family visit today at baseballhall.org.
Hey Hillcats fans, has your big bank just closed its doors? Come on over to Bank of the James. We make banking better in just 3 easy steps. First, stop by Bank of the James to open your account. Second, bring your current checking statement so we can help you with recurring transactions. And third, enjoy banking the way it should be. Why Bank of the James? We're your strong, local bank, and we're committed to you. Putting community first for 24 years. Come on over to Bank of the James.
You've probably heard the old saying, the best things in life are free. But do you believe it? The Lynchburg Hillcats want to make sure you and your kids do. Sign your kids up for Southpaw's Free Kids Club and experience the best free activity your money can't buy. All Kids Club members receive complimentary tickets to 5 designated Kids Club games, Virginia 529 Fun Zone passes for the whole season, and exclusive autograph sessions with players. Kids 12 and under can sign up at lynchburg-hillcats.com to activate their Kids Club membership today.
You're listening to Hillcats Baseball on the Lynchburg Hillcats Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Lynchburg Hillcats pregame show. I had to grab Luis Moreo to talk about the red-hot start he's had with the Hillcats. Luis, thanks for joining me. First question. Saw you just taking some infield with Erland Serta. You're a guy with a lot of gloves. You played in right field yesterday. Today you'll be playing at first base, but I saw you break out the infield mitt, field some ground balls over short second. Are we going to potentially see you make that move over to the infield as well? And if so, that flexibility is certainly something very valuable to any club. Have you always been a player that feels like they can just throw on a glove and play anywhere the coach needs them to on any given day?
Well, for my first year, I actually played third and first, so I'm not new to playing the infield, but it's with working on a little bit of keeping myself mobile, not being so flat-footed at first, so get agile. But if the team ever needs me, I'm always available.
Awesome. You have been hitting the ball really well, 5-game hit streak, the longest on the team, and we've seen some pop as well already with over 10 extra base hits in just a handful of games. What's been the biggest transition moving from the Arizona Complex League to the single-A level? We talked with Logan Clark a couple days ago about the fans and the energy around the stadium being a huge boost as opposed to Arizona where there is no fans in attendance. How have you dealt with that change from the Complex League here to the Carolina League?
I mean, like with the fans, like Clark said, it's a great feeling. Like there's always a good vibe. There's a lot of energy. Like last night, like we didn't come out on top, but the fans were in the game. Everybody was up in the dugout, and it's like a great time playing out here.
Talked about that transition to from the Arizona Complex League. You've been hitting the ball really well here at the Carolina League level, like we already talked about. What's been the biggest transition for you as far as the competition of play? You know, they say every level you move up, the competition also takes that jump with you. Have you found that to be true here in the single-A level?
Yeah. I mean, pitching is smarter, better command. Like teams are gonna make adjustments. Like last night, props to Down East. They made a couple adjustments, but you learn from your mistakes, and I made my couple adjustments today to hit the ball just as I was last week.
Awesome. Thanks for joining me on the Lynchburg Hillcats pregame show at home, and thank you as well, Luis. Rayo certainly has made every adjustment that has been asked of him and then some so far this season. He's one fun player to watch, and we are blessed to have him here in the Berg this year. Jason Prill, he'll greet you as we get ready for first pitch in just a few short moments. And remember, stick around after the last out is recorded for the Lynchburg Hillcats postgame show, where we will recap the game for one final time and take a look at what has transpired around the rest of the Carolina League. Hillcats baseball is next on tap. Game 5 of 6. Down East, they have the slim lead in the season series 7-6. Lynchburg, though, they lead the series at hand 3-1, and they look to secure the series win tonight.
You're listening to the 30th anniversary season of Lynchburg Hillcats baseball.
7-3, the final was a sucker punch of a loss for Lynchburg as Carolina now leads the series 2-0 in the season series 8-3. Lynchburg still 6 games out of first place with less time with each passing game to eclipse Fredericksburg for the crown in the second half of the North Division. Let's go over the final scores and continuing games throughout the Carolina League. Fredericksburg, Kannapolis 5-1 win for the Ballers, so at least there's that for Hillcats fans. Not all negatives on this Wednesday evening. Myrtle Beach Down East 3-0 shutout. Final win for the Pelicans. Bottom 8 between Salem and Delmarva. 7-1, the Red Sox putting a hurting on the last place. Shorebirds, Columbia, Augusta, 3-0 shutout for the Fireflies, looking to finish it against Augusta from SRP Park. Fayetteville, Charleston, just in the bottom of the 6th inning, 5-3, and still a long ways to go from Charleston, South Carolina. Let's take a look at the standings as it lies. Now, this will change by the time all the games become final, but as of right now, Fredericksburg 34-22, Carolina 32-23 in second place, just a game and a half from the Frednats atop the North in the Carolina League standing. Salem in third, Lynchburg in fourth, 6 games out at 27-27, dead even, 500 in the second half. Down East behind the Cats, Delmarva in the basement. In the South, Charleston has 3 games of cushion over Columbia as it stands at 32-21. Myrtle Beach in third, 5.5 games out. Fayetteville 9 games out. Kannapolis 9.5. And Augusta, the worst record in the second half, 16.5 already out of the first place spot. They have been eliminated from the playoffs, just 16-38 from the Green Jackets in the second half. Tomorrow, it'll be Mason Molina and Rafe Schlesinger, a pair of Carolina League debuts. Schlesinger is actually a pretty high draft pick of the Guardians from just this past draft, so it'll be an interesting start, to say the least, for Guardians prospect heads and Hillcats fans alike. Schlesinger was the 4th-round pick of the 2024 MLB draft. He's 21 years old from Holbrook, New York. He is coming off a sophomore season at University of Miami, where he was phenomenal, mainly being used as a reliever. He'll get a start tomorrow for Lynchburg. And Mason Molina will also be making his Mudcat debut. So it's a pair of newbies on Thursday night here in the Hills City. Well, for Jason Prill, I'm Connor Young saying so long and good night from Lynchburg, Virginia, where the final score for one final time is 7-3 Carolina Mudcats. Thank you for tuning in to the Lynchburg Hillcats Radio Network, and good night from the Hills City.